So I used to literally put 3 spoons of sugar into my coffee and like 3 spoons of sugar into my herbal tea and be like, yeah, I'm being healthy, I'm drinking herbal tea, and then drowning it in sugar. So I was like, okay, this is a habit I really need to stop doing. So what I started doing was I kind of reduced it over time. So instead of 3, I made it 2. I did that for a little while. After the 2, I made it 1. I did that for a little while. The 1 got replaced and turned into honey. Not in coffee though, because honey and coffee is just not, it's not it. But with the coffee, I just did 3/4 of a spoon, did that for a little while, and then eventually now I don't have any sugar, any honey, nothing. Not with coffee and not with my herbal teas. So I basically like phased it out and then replaced it and then phased it out some more. So that was like a massive thing in my sugar reduction, and because I started having not a sweet tea, not a sweet coffee multiple times a day, it also meant that when I did have sweet things, it felt so sugary, like it was so, there was so much sugar in it that I couldn't drink it or I couldn't eat it, which is a good place to be. Now, something I found was that actually having that coffee in the morning was really upsetting my stomach. I've got IBS and it was just, it was destroying me. So what I needed to do was just cut it out completely. So again, I replaced the morning coffee with like a matcha or a kind of herbal tea, and then I just had a coffee after lunch. And now I've got to the point where I don't even need that coffee after lunch. I just have my herbal teas throughout the day, and if I need that caffeine boost, I'll have a green tea or a matcha after lunch, which, to be honest, since doing that one change has helped my gut so much. And that's again just by replacing and then eventually phasing out. So as I was doing my sort of coffee phase out, I was also kind of trying to change what I was eating, because I was eating either like a protein bar or like some sugary cereal or nothing for breakfast, and it was really affecting me. Like the food that I eat, when I eat and how much I eat affects my mood to no end. Like if I'm in a bad mood, you know I haven't eaten. So for me, changing that and making that a more positive experience was quite an important thing for me to do. And I found just by chance a like protein bowl recipe, which is one actually really fun to make and can be quite creative to make, but also too has just like managed to replace what I was eating before, and it keeps me like fuller for longer. It feels healthy, I feel good. I'm like, yeah, I'm eating something healthy, it looks good, like my partner's excited to eat it as well. So that tends to be for me a really satisfying, fulfilling bowl, much better than what I was eating before. And that replacement there has just, again, it's really set me up for a good day. Now, one thing I was notoriously bad for was going out, staying out late, partying with friends until like all hours of the morning, coming back, getting up early, and then like getting on with my day, which kind of left me feeling extremely tired, completely sleep deprived, and just not able to like make good, coherent, like useful decisions in my life. So that kind of slowly, again, it phased out. It kind of became less and less over time, but that's because I was replacing it with like salsa and bachata. So I found like the salsa and bachata scene, which although can go on till quite late, where I am anyway, it also starts a bit earlier. So it starts like 7-8 o'clock. So you can get a good amount of like dancing in, and that kind of buzz, that I get from a night out, from the dancing and the socializing and all of that sort of stuff. I found actually the salsa and bachata dancing scene, that kind of like, filled that hole for me. And then I didn't have to stay out as late listening to music I didn't really like that much, and then getting home late. Like I could get home by like midnight and still get 7 hours of sleep if I wanted to. But to be honest, these days I go to bed even earlier. So replacing those kind of nights with something that gave me the similar kind of buzz but ended earlier really helped. And then equally like scheduling in things early in the morning with other people, where I would not let somebody else down. I would let myself down, but I would not let somebody else down. Scheduling things like early morning walk and talks, early morning gym sessions, PT sessions in the morning, that kind of like made me think the night before and be like, actually, you know what, I can't stay out and do this and this because I've actually got to be up early for this person. So having those two things, like the replacement for that night out, and then also like responsibility first thing in the morning, it really helped over time, maybe over like a year and a half. it really helped to transition me away and to form much healthier, much more happiness giving habits. Now, we all know learning is really important. So even if you are like top of your game, if you want to stay there, you have to keep learning. So for me, I know the importance of learning. I've set it as one of my goals. I've set up my reward systems. If I do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna get this. I put so many things in place to help me to achieve the goal of learning, and yet every time I sat down to learn something, I would end up in a mindless scrolling through Instagram, and suddenly like an hour's gone by and I'm like, I've not done anything. Not only have I not done anything in that hour, but I actually don't want to do anything now because I'm exhausted just by scrolling and like looking at other people's feeds and being consumed by news or other people's to-do lists. So for me, it just became like, okay, now I'm exhausted from doing that. I don't really want to learn. I'm not in the mindset or the space to learn anything new. So I needed a way, like I honestly tried everything, but I needed a way to actually like stop that from happening. And again, I had to rely on other people because for me, like I don't like letting people down, as I've said before. So having to like rely on someone else, have someone else counting on me to do something was like such a good way and it's such a good hack for me. So what I've done now is I've got another friend who's in a similar position who wants to learn but never seems to find the time to do so or the focus to do so. We've got like a hourly, like 3-hour slot every single week where we just sit in the same room and we study. And if we see each other on the phone, we're like, are you okay? You scrolling? Is that like for the work, for the learning, or is that for something else? So that's something that has actually worked really well. We've had about 4 sessions already, and so far it's worked so well that we literally sat there for 3 hours. Almost all of it is spent learning, focusing. We'll have a little chat here and there in between, so it's not super serious. But even my friend said that's the most that she's done in that 3-hour session that she's done in like 6 years. So having that kind of like dedicated time slot with a dedicated person who's got the similar kind of goal to you has just worked wonders for me. It's worked so well. So I recommend that. There's something that's like, I really need to do this. You find someone else who also really needs to do it, and you set the time and you do it together. I spoke about this in my solopreneur video, where loneliness is such a big thing and you really have to come to rely on other people as a solopreneur, not because you can't do it yourself, but because you spend so much time alone that having to do all these extra things, your discipline kind of isn't as good as it is, but on top of that it's just another thing that you're doing on your own. So having that kind of more social, people orientated kind of schedule, that has been a lifesaver. That has been so good for me. Another one was the gym. I hated going to the gym. Like I hated it. I knew I needed to go. I wanted to go. I needed to go, and yet I was not going. So what I needed to do really, again, is a running theme in this actually, is I got myself a PT. I paid somebody not to teach me how to use the gym, because I know how to use the gym. I got somebody to force me to go to the gym, to turn up to the gym, and to just basically be there for me as I'm gymming and to push me when I'm not feeling motivated. Of course, I was introduced to new exercises, my form improved over time, and I did so much more with my PT than I would have done by myself if I made it to the gym. But the main thing for me was just having someone there that I actually could not cancel on him because he would arrange childcare for me. So I would have to go because I'd be not just screwing him up, but screwing his kid up, and his money and his time as well. So for me, it was like so important that I did not miss the PT session, so I had to go. And over about 6-7 months, maybe more than that, I basically ended up getting into a really good routine where I'm doing my PT sessions early morning with my PT, and then I'd also go to the gym other times. So I basically got into the habit, and eventually I started enjoying going to the gym. And then eventually I started being like, I need to go to the gym. If I like miss a week or something, I was like, I'm desperate, I need to go. Now what I've done since then, because I can't afford PT sessions at the moment, what I've done since then was replaced. So I had my 2 PT sessions. I had 3 PT sessions first. Then I went down to 2 PT sessions and 1 session on my own. Then I went down to 1 PT session, 1 session on my own, 1 session with a friend. and then no PT sessions, and 2 sessions with a friend and 1 session on my own. And then sometimes I'll do a 4th session as well, or a 5th session in the week. But the main thing was being able to have that solid foundation first to get me to a good place, and then slowly replace that over time, so dwindle that down. If I had just stopped the PT straight away, I think I would have just stopped going to the gym. So I think having that transitionary period, for me, like stopping anything cold turkey or trying anything cold turkey doesn't seem to have lasting results. But now it's been, I don't know how long now, maybe 6 months without a PT, maybe more than that. And I'm still going to the gym regularly, at least twice a week, 2, 3, 4 times a week. So yeah, that's worked really well for me. So I suggest like doing something, getting the help that you need, and then slowly phasing out so you can be independent in that, or doing it with friends, for example. I've got 4 more left, and it's already seems like a really long video, but yes, 4 more left. The first of that 4 is mindlessly watching TV while scrolling through. So I'll be watching something or have something on in the background whilst I'm scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I'm not paying attention to that or that. Like, nothing's getting my full attention. And what ends up happening is that hours go by and I feel like I haven't really done anything, like I haven't achieved anything from anything, and I haven't gotten the satisfaction of watching TV. I haven't gotten any satisfaction from social media. I'm just sat in this like limbo, and it just doesn't feel good. It just felt very draining. So what I've done, the switch I've made, is I've actually started watching foreign TV shows with English subtitles. So not dubbed, just the subtitles, which means that if I am watching it and I pick my phone up, I'm gonna miss something. So if I want to pick my phone up and send someone a message, I actually have to physically pause the show, send the message I want to send, put the phone down, start the show again. This has actually been really, really helpful for my focus, because it doesn't mean that my focus is diverted. It means whatever I'm doing, I'm focused on that one task. And to be honest, it's also given me a sense of calm, because I've been watching stuff in a different language and having to read the subtitles and focusing and just doing that one thing. It's been a lot more relaxing than like scrolling at the same time, or trying to cook at the same time, or like do work at the same time. Just having that little TV time to myself has been so much better for me mentally, like from a kind of distraction perspective, than I actually expected it to be. So I would recommend give that a go. Some things I like to watch is Singles Inferno. That's really good. So if you like things like Love Island or like The Ultimatum, I've not seen The Ultimatum, but I'm assuming it's a similar kind of premise. But these kind of love dating shows, Love is Blind for example, try Singles Inferno. That's a Korean based one, really good, really enjoyable. And then at the moment I'm watching a period drama which is based in Austria, or is Austrian I think, and that's called The Empress, and that's also pretty good too. So yeah, just have a look around, because there's loads of really interesting things in different languages that produced by different countries. But yeah, and then just don't dub it, subtitle it. Okay, shopping. Let's talk about shopping. Especially since quitting my job, shopping is not something that I can just be like, yeah, let's go out and just have a look around and wander around and then come home and like, you know, come home with loads of bags. It's just not something that I can literally afford to do right now. So I've had to like curb my spending habit. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll slip up. But overall it's not been bad. I've done this in a few different ways. Number one is I just don't go to the shops anymore. Like I will not go for a wander. Before it was like just, oh, we'll just, you know, go window shopping as like a hobby or like a pastime. I just don't do that anymore. I don't go window shopping. I don't go into a shop even if I'm walking past it to have a look or see what's going on or see what the fashion is. No, I just walk straight past. I go to like the bank or the supermarket, whatever I need to do, then I go home. I just do not go in. I do not tempt myself, because I know as soon as I see something I'm like, oh, that's cute, let me try it on. I'm like, oh, that looks good, I'm gonna buy it. So no, just no temptation. And then the whole online shopping, the worst one is Instagram ads. Let me tell you, I can be flicking through and Instagram always knows what's gonna look good on me, always knows the kind of clothes that I like, and they show it to me and I'm like, oh, I really want that. So what I've started doing now is like putting those items into the basket and leaving it for like a week. And then if I'm still thinking about that outfit, or I'm still like, I'll go back, like, yeah, okay, no, I do want that, then I will buy it and I'll purchase it, making sure to hit that like returns button as soon as I can. Even if it's a little bit wrong, it's going back. But I try my best not to buy stuff from places online and just do online shopping. But again, if I feel the need to, it will sit in my basket for like a week and then I will think about buying it later. And then if I do happen to find myself in a store, I'm like, it's got to be 100% perfect if I buy it. Sometimes I put things on, like in the past I put things on, I'm like, it's almost perfect, it's like 90% there, but like I wish the strap was a little bit shorter, but you know what, I'll buy it anyway because it's cheap. Or I'll be like, oh, okay, this skirt is not quite the right length, maybe I'll like pull it up and like sew up. I never sew anything up. I don't know why that's in my head, but oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll just make this adjustment. It never happens, I never do it. So for now, if I'm gonna go and try something on, I always try in the store, I don't wait till I get home, try it in the store. If I try it in the store and it's not 100% well fitted, suits me perfectly, good color, I will not buy it. And that has allowed me to put a lot of things back that I've then gone and tried on. The penultimate one, and this one, it's got everything to do with basically, I think it's almost dinner time because I can hear my partner getting the plates out. So if you can hear that, I'm very sorry, but also not that sorry because I'm gonna get to eat soon. Okay, I'm gonna quickly finish. We've got penultimate one here, which is I would set my alarm in bed. Because I'm in bed, I would autopilot and click the Instagram button, and then I'll be stuck in a scrolling void for like 30 minutes and I'm like, I really need to go to sleep. Like, it's late, it's now late, I've been exposing myself to blue light, I'm now more awake, my sleep's been disrupted. So what I do now is very simple. I set the alarm before I get into bed, plug it in, put it down, and then get into bed, and I just do not touch my phone whilst I'm in bed. That's the rule, no phone in bed at all, and that's really helped making sure that I get to sleep at a reasonable time. And then moving on to the last one, this is a big one. This is a big one. And this one is basically negative self-talk. And this is where the replace thing was so, I should probably do a video on my mental health journey, just in general, but I'll just give you a quick snippet, is to replace the negative talk with positive self-talk, even if you don't believe it and it doesn't make any sense. If you're there and you're like, oh God, I've messed this up, this is so shit, I can't believe I've done this, like, how could I be so stupid? Even saying that out loud now to myself doesn't feel right. It feels so wrong. And yet 2 years ago, that was how I spoke to myself all the time. So yeah, so what I would do is, okay, I'll be like, oh, I'm so stupid, and I'll be like, I catch myself and I replace it. I replace it with, no, I am intelligent, I've just made a mistake, but I am intelligent, I am extremely intelligent, I'm one of the most intelligent people I know. Even if I didn't believe it, I would replace what I just thought and said with something positive. I would try and catch myself out and replace it. Something negative's happened, replace it with something positive. And over time, that negative self-talk became smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and the positive self-talk became bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This became more natural to the point where this is barely existent, and I catch it straight away now, straight away. So yes, try and replace the same. It's a bad habit. Negative self-talk is a bad habit. The more you practice something, the better you get at it. If you practice negative self-talk, if you practice scrolling in bed, if you practice walking into the shop and buying something, you're gonna get very, very, very good at talking badly to yourself, at going to sleep late, at spending all your money on clothes that you never wear. So slowly transition. And the thing is, because these things are habits, it's hard to break habits. Habits are there because they're automatic. Your body does them automatically. So now you need to break those neurons, those neurological connections, and create new ones. And the best way to do that is by transitioning, by replacing, by changing your mindset across each thing over to the healthier, more positive habits. I hope this video was useful for you. I would be really interested to see what your bad habits are, and not just tell me, oh, I do this, but what your plan is to get out of that. Just pick one or two, and then let me know what your plan is. I want to see these things in action because I know it's worked for me. I want to see it work for other people as well. So let me know in the comments down below. Obviously do the whole like, subscribe, all the rest, and share this video with someone else who you think it might help. Maybe don't be like, oh, you've got these bad habits, here's a video. Just be like, oh, I found this video really interesting and useful. Okay, next video that I want you to watch, right here.